myself, just making sure it's all good.
Joe's already checking himself out. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be just something slightly different for the channel. We are the Halloween one will be getting started. I forgot to mute that other video. Anyway, the Halloween review we will be kicking that off. We're just waiting on Tyler. He's got some personal things that are happening right now. He'll be joining us shortly, but we didn't want to just start that without him and then go into it, and then he hops in after Joe and I have already talked about it for a good 20-30 minutes or so. So Joe, we're just gonna sit here and bullshit for
just a little bit. Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah, Halloween stuff, horror stuff, anything in general. Like you said, our main discussion of Halloween, the new movie, that'll be for later when all three of us can do that properly. But we got Yamish and we got Jake Juggalo in the chat room that have joined us.
Thanks for bouncing over, guys. Appreciate it.
Exactly. My God, I'm gonna try not to move too much. I don't want because I can see
so we're zooming in and out on you.
Yeah, and I think I've seen you or somebody last week when they moved for 1 second, and I think it zoomed in. And I was
I think mine has a tendency to do that a little bit, but I know it happens occasionally, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much. I don't think it bothers anyone else either.
No, just like that one episode when we did it, I talked so much with my hands. That's why I'm trying to hold them down right now. That it just kept going back and forth, back and forth. It was like crazy. It was like yim yim yim. Felt like you were in some old kind of horrible movie with a bad VHS. But that's how my quality is, anyways. Did you notice this is red this time? So I got my new headphones. I spent.
Oh man, they made a trip to the Dollar Tree, huh?
Heck yeah, upgraded from the white ones that ripped to the red ones, so we'll see how long these red ones last. But sometimes you get what you pay for.
Right. All right, so I mean we're fastly approaching Halloween. So Joe, have you been getting in the spirit? What all have you been watching? Do you do that? Do you get into it? You're like, I'm gonna watch horror movies every day. I've wanted to, but I've worked so much, and I had to work overtime yesterday, which is why I had to go to the first showing, the earliest one I could find playing in our area, just so we could go and see it. And then I shit you not, we got back to my house. I had about 10-15 minutes to pack my lunch, eat a sandwich, and I had to go to work. Wow. But what have you been checking out these last few weeks?
Well, I mean, obviously, you know how it is. I could put in anything on DVD or Blu-ray, but I don't. I just usually, when it pops up on TV, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit down and watch the entire Halloween marathon, because AMC,
right.
This year I give it to them. They actually ran them in order.
Wow, they never do that.
No, they never do. It's usually you have 1, then you have 5, then you have 4 and 3, and everything's in a sporadic order or not even getting a lot. But they actually had Halloween 1 all the way up to H2O in order. They didn't do Resurrection. So
I mean, I don't think anyone ever needs to see Resurrection ever again. That is easily the worst out of that entire franchise.
It strayed just completely into a whole different direction. It was trying to capitalize on all the crap of the internet stuff, and we could do a live thing, almost like a live, like a podcast, but live and through the internet and streaming.
Oh god! Well, the problem with it is not only is it bad, but because of that, it's just gonna date it horribly now. Yeah. So it's never gonna stand the test of time.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's what I hate sometimes when you see not only just horror movies, but some kind of movies, when they have things that are particular to that time period, or some new, devices, or whatever the hot thing is, then yes, it becomes dated. I also hate when they make references to something happening in the news in a movie, for that year. I'm like, oh god, what, in 15 years, half the people are like, what are you talking about? I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is.
I do. Honestly, a perfect example of that is last night. I don't know why I just got this urge to watch it, but I'm like, I'm gonna watch the House on Haunted Hill remake from '99, and they're talking about Beanie Babies and shit, and I'm just like, oh man, dating it terribly.
That's what I don't like. I always wish and hope they could avoid things going on or the hot thing that's happening, because it just, I don't know, it ruins it for me, especially on momentum, and especially for people who are like, what were they talking about back then? And I have to explain to my nephews sometimes, back then, well, that meant this, that meant that. They're like, oh, see, it means nothing to them, but yeah, it's
rotary phone. What is that?
Yeah, I see. People still can see some of those.
When was the last time you saw a payphone?
Now it's funny you said that because it's weird. I was just gonna bring up the payphone once you said rotary phone because there was this skit on one of those late night talk shows. And hello, JSP, how you doing? We'll be doing our Halloween one later. We're just doing a random Halloween stuff.
Yeah, yeah, we're just bullshitting, waiting on Tyler right now.
Yeah, and we will switch over to that other recording when we do it, and of course you guys can follow us over there. But no, there was one of these late night talk shows where they had some girl look like she might have been 20 or something. And he wanted her to go use a payphone, and she looked so confused and didn't know how to do the quarters and the buttons. And I was like, really? I mean, is it that fucking old?
I guess. Well, I mean, it's like when you see those videos of kids with cassette players and Game Boys, and they don't know how to turn them on. I'm like, is it
a Game Boy?
Is it really that difficult though?
I figured. Well, that's the thing. Think of us. Anything that we knew of from before we grew up, we understood. It's like you still understood these things, but to some of the people nowadays, it's like it's alien technology or something that's from caveman times. And when you bring up the payphone, there is one. Like I got to go to my local store, Myers, when I'm done here because I got to do some stuff over there. Yeah. Well, as you go in and off to the side, there is a payphone. I mean, it's not a phone booth, but there's a payphone. It's still there, and which is good because I always say, man, it's what scares me. You talk about a horror movie. Picture the internet and all this fucking shit just going down. No cell phone use, no nothing. And then what do? It's like you guys, everybody's so dependent on these cell phones and the internet and everything else to where it's just electronically. It's like, man, what happened to the landlines? It's like they better keep it for a backup just in case. You better have some backup.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's even when the power goes out, like just losing just having lights. People do it all the time. You go in the room and you flip the switch just because it's instinctive. You're like, oh yeah, shit, the power's out. Speaking of which, we had high winds here last night. Yeah, it was like gusty. It was like sustained winds about 30 miles an hour, and occasionally it would gust to 50, 60. The power, I'm at work, and where I work, like they're fine because they're basically on their own power grid, backup generators, everything. But I'm getting texts from Emily. It's like, yeah, the power cycled on and off about 4 or 5 times. I mean, I'm like, flickering? She's like, no, it's like it's going out, staying out for 5 minutes, and it comes back on. I'm like, oh god, because I'm like, if the power goes out, the power companies are usually like, all right, well, we'll wait a little bit. So I'm like, if the power goes out, then we won't even have a show tomorrow. And I'm just like, and I worked overtime yesterday. I'm like, it's my one day off, and the power's going to be out. And we're not going to be able to do anything. It's just going to be terrible.
Isn't it weird? I mean, it's how dependent. But no, it's funny. We live in different states, but I always notice anytime you talk about a certain weather pattern, we have the same thing. Because where I'm at, we had the 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, and things were just everywhere. Woke up this morning, they showed on the news some power lines went down in places, but also this one tree, it just completely got ripped, fell down, and crushed 2 cars that were on a street. It's like, it's pretty bad. But no, like I always say, I think that could be the biggest horror movie at all. It'd be something like, the internet gone dead or whatever it was, or just picture no way of getting onto anything like we do in here. And I was like I said, I still have a landline, but we have battery phones. You click them on, you got them on the charging station. But I also have a phone with a cord just in case, because if those would go out and lose their energy, at least I have a landline phone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my parents have a corded phone in their foyer, and when the power's out, like that's the only one that rings. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, it's good to have. I could also picture you, Joe, just like having a basement full of just like big fucking cans of green beans and shit too.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Paranoid. But no, that stuff freaks me out. But no, yeah, as for horror stuff, and yeah, there's been the marathons on AMC. Just got done watching Silver Bullet today while I was painting and doing stuff. So I like AMC for that. And because at one time I thought AMC used to do 31 nights of Halloween, but then I thought it changed to 13.
It's like 2 weeks worth of stuff. I'm just like, man, like, I don't know. And I hate it how ABC Family, or I guess they're Freeform now or whatever.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, they do the 31 days, but it's just like lame stuff. Like there's some good stuff, but it's just like, come on. Like
most are the family or happy ones and nothing serious. But yeah, I got upset that AMC went from 31 to 13, and I even thought 1 week was like a week because they wanted to promote Walking Dead coming back, so they had a giant marathon and Walking Dead.
And that kind of bums me out. Jake Juggalo says every year on Devil's Night they watch The Crow. Joe, what is your opinion of The Crow? Do you
I haven't watched Crow in about probably 6 years, but it's a movie I like.
Mhm.
I just always remembered. It's weird how in your head you might create something that wasn't said or you think you didn't see, but I swear I remember they talked about, Brandon Lee, when he died during the
Mhm.
making of that movie. I could have sworn it was Entertainment Tonight had the footage where he was doing the scene where, like, they were doing something, he was like, shoot me, I'm already dead, or I couldn't remember how it went, and the gun goes off and he falls and like, good take, Brandon, and then they realized it was real bullets. But I was like, did I really imagine this in my head, or did that footage exist? Did I see it
I
on
know
Entertainment
that. I mean,
Tonight?
I know that the footage exists. I don't know in regards to if like Entertainment Tonight got a hold of it and actually played it. But I know the scene that you're talking about. It's basically when he walks through the door and sees that she's being raped, and then like they hold him and then they shoot him. That was the one that did it, supposedly. I guess. But
Okay, then that was the scene, but I just don't remember if maybe they were showing the
yeah,
actual
I mean,
footage
I
from the
kind of.
movie, but saying this is when it happened because, like
I
JSP said,
yeah.
the footage was destroyed.
Yeah, I would say
Apparently.
that was more during the flashback scene.
God, how? I mean, how do you not check stuff? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
because they always want to talk about the curse that his family had, and you've seen Dragon the Bruce
Well,
Lee story.
there are some conspiracy theories out there if you look them up that they're basically just like it
Well,
was the
somebody
wrong.
had to do something because it's not like a bullet magically appeared.
Yeah.
There's somebody wanted him to die, but it's like, God, you figured they would have checked the gun, or that's why I always thought, how they edit things. At least when somebody aims in a movie, have them aim off to the side or a fake thing just in case something like that happened. Because that's Jesus.
Yeah.
It's terrible. The poor. I mean, that guy. I mean, that's the movie that obviously that threw him into the limelight, and you wondered where he would be now if nothing like that ever happened. That's
Yeah,
terrible because
I would have been pretty curious about that because he was definitely starting to head upward, and that I think that, had he been alive when that movie came out, and it kind of goes back to that too. Do you think that movie would have been as popular had he not died during the production?
almost like with Heath Ledger and the whole
Yeah.
Joker thing. I don't know. That's one I couldn't tell you. I would like to think because I just like the movie itself in general. I like the movie, but yeah, because when they did the sequels to The Crow, nobody really flipped over those movies, and didn't they even try to digitally do his face in the original one for scenes that he wasn't there to
I
begin
want to
with?
say the only scene that would even look like that is when he puts on his makeup and everything, like he gets the costume on and he's standing there in that broken window and it like pans out and the lightning hits. I think that they sort of put his face onto that, like
Okay.
someone else was doing that. I want to say, but I like The Crow a lot. The soundtrack's awesome. It was one of those movies I watched a lot during the 90s. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, uh, shit,
That's
man.
one. Yeah, I'd have to. Yeah, I probably will still have to watch that before Halloween. But there's just
Jake Juggalo says there were several scenes. So, I mean, I never sat and wanted to try to like pinpoint them all.
I
I
just
just,
thought there was. I mean, from what he said, and I thought that's what a lot of people said was obviously then he passed away. They'd have somebody else, playing the role, but then they'd have to digitally do something over the face to, well, make it look like him. And
yeah.
yeah, it's sad, but it's just like Jake said, it's a curse that family had because remember Bruce Lee, the whole thing when you seen Dragon the Bruce Lee story, and they talked about how the curse and the demons and everything, and didn't want it to pass on to his son, and of course that's when he had that dream about that, like that demon, that samurai warrior type demon coming for his son. So yeah, they used to put that pakwa or whatever they called them. They were like those little like things that kept evil spirits away, put on his windowsill. So yeah, it's something else. But no, there's Halloween time for me beyond the movies. It's one of my favorite times. Just seeing all the decorations, getting the outfits, scaring people, especially on Halloween or before. There was a girl I used to torture to almost death every year back in the old neighborhood. God, would I scare her? Her mother even gave me a key to her apartment. She
Oh
finally.
my God.
So this was demented. I felt so bad, but when you're an idiot and you want some and stuff, you're doing lots of crazy stuff. But anyways, she lived across the street.
I
from the
like wait. I like how your mindset is like, you know what? I want some sex. I'm gonna scare the shit out of her. I'm gonna
well,
take her book and put it in the toilet. That'll really get her
I
going.
did I did some demented stuff, but like I said, I scared her all the time. I used to jump out of trees to scare, hide behind things. But she lived across the street. Well, she finally got an apartment across the street into another apartment duplex, and she's a hairstylist. So she at the time didn't drive. Her father had to pick her up. So when he went to go pick her up, her mother said, "Here's the key to the house or the apartment. You go in there, do what you have to do. We'll ring the phone one time when she's coming into the apartment and hang up so you can get prepared." So I had on my Jason outfit. I had on my Freddy Krueger mask, which I reversed to make it look deformed, and it didn't look like Freddy, and it looked like a deformed head. And then I put
Yeah.
my hockey mask over, and I stood in her bedroom door
Oh my god.
because I knew that's the first place she was going to go. So I heard the phone ring, and I got prepared, and I had my machete, and I'm standing there just waiting, and I heard the door open, shut, and she walked, coming, and right when she came around that corner, and I'm just standing, I didn't have to make a noise or move. Her scream was just ear piercing. She's jumping back, almost falling back, and I was like, "Wait, no, it's me, Rebecca, it's me." I took it off, and she's like, "Fucking Joey," and she started punching me, then hugging it. But oh my god, that
Now I'm just picturing you peeling that off, and there's the red mask.
oh, there you go, there, boom, red mask. But that was, oh my god, that had to be the funnest thing and most twisted, demented. And then she was so paranoid after that. Her dad actually, and this is not a lie, had to go in with her to the apartment every time then to go through the closets, look under the
Oh
bed.
my god.
And so they got, that's what her dad said. "You had to do it, didn't you? I have to do this all the time now." And when she finally got a house, which again, 5 houses down, she got a new place. She said, "Joey, please don't scare me." She said, "Because this is bigger than my apartment. I don't want to have my dad look through every single." So I made sure not to do it in her house.
Wow.
What
Well,
a
all
fun
right.
time.
Well, I mean, was there a happy ending for you in this
Oh,
story?
there's always a happy ending. Yeah. Yeah, there's, yeah.
Joe is modest, but supposedly he is also a ladies' man.
No, I'm good. I'm not a bad guy. I'm good. I'm laid back. I'm cool. But that
He
was,
he does pretty good. I like scaring people. I don't know if I've told this story before on any of the shows. I feel like I may have at some point, but my cousin, she had her group of friends. This is back in middle school. I think there's, gosh, like 5 or 6 of them, and I was dating one of her friends, so we were all just sort of like always together.
okay.
And of course, around this time, like I think Scream 2 had just come out on video,
Oh, jeez.
and I had the ghost face mask, and my cousin, her boyfriend was actually, he stayed over at my house one night, and basically the three of us concocted this plan that while they're watching this movie, we're gonna come in through the basement and come upstairs, and we're gonna scare the shit out of them. So I put on the ghost face mask, and we planned it out. It's like, all right, here's this part in the movie. You get up and say you got to go get something, and that's the cue for us to come in and do our thing. So I'm just standing there waiting, and we planned it with like one of the scenes in the film where it just Ghostface shows up and chase ensues, and I pop in there, and they all just jump up off the couch, and they're screaming and they run everywhere, and it was, oh god, it was beautiful. It was,
Isn't it?
so good.
That's when you wish, back in the day, that's when I wish I had some kind of cell phone or camcorder or something to record this shit, because
Yeah, that would have been cool.
it only makes the memories that much more, delicious. Of course, having them in your head is great, but if you could just watch them and see them again, because I used to do the same thing to my nephew. From when he was 5, I scared the living hell out of him all the time, from Jason masks to this old man mask. I think I showed it before, maybe not, but I have this demented old man mask to where it just looks like a blue hat and you see this white hair in the back, but when you pull it over, it's like an old man mask from like the nose up, so all you can see is the mouth.
Oh man, you
And
should have wore that.
yeah, probably I might do it one time to the show. That way, you guys at least will see my lips and my chin. But this you'll get to see something from me. But it's pretty twisted. I used to freak them out. Well, back then I had that. Also had the Freddy claw head, everything you could think of, and my mom, she got a kick out of sometimes when I scare people. And it was nighttime. We're standing in the old neighborhood, and it was probably, I don't know, maybe 9 o'clock at night. We're just, standing. Sometimes you stand on the streets, around the corners or whatever. And she said, Joey, I want to scare somebody. She's like, give me that old man mask. So, okay. So she put it on. She's like, give me that Freddy claw, too. So, okay. So she took the Freddy claw. There was this kid, teenager. He's riding his bike and he's coming down the street. My mom was like by a tree.
Oh
She
my god.
slowly walked out towards the street and took her hand like that with claw, like, to make the Freddy thing. The kid didn't even scream. He just actually just went, tipped over 10 feet and just started running with it like he's pedal running with the bike. He was fucking gone. It was the best thing I ever seen. My mom, I never seen her scare somebody like that. She was saying she just walked and went like that with the claw. That fucker just fell right over on his 10 speed. Oh my god. Damn, do
See,
I
I feel like if anyone tried to do that now, you probably just get shot or pepper sprayed or something.
No, yeah, you're right. You don't know who has a weapon. But of course, for those who don't have weapons, I think that people and kids might be a little more scared now more than ever these days, because that's all I see is like just people freaking out of everything and frightened of everything, and they don't you don't hear of them watching horror movies or nothing scary when they're young. They might be 20 for the first time when they see something. I'm like, God, don't be so damn sheltered like that, because then when you're scared, you don't know how to deal with reality. You might be looking over your shoulder every second thinking somebody's coming to get you. That's why I always say it's not like I'm trying to scare kids to give them nightmares. And I didn't, like I said, me.
Yeah, sure. I'm not trying to traumatize them or anything.
No, really. It's not like I'm trying to traumatize, but you know what? Get it in you. Get it in your system so the shit of little things don't freak you out to where you're looking over your shoulder every fucking second or thinking somebody's coming to get you. It's like, have a grasp on reality. But I was always taught, Joe, this is fake. That's why my parents always taught me, even with the Halloweens of Friday the 13th, this isn't real. This guy ain't going to come back to life. This can't happen. Can't happen. And I never had nightmares about any of them. I told you the only thing I had nightmares about was the Wicked Witch and the Incredible Hulk. Those are the people I had nightmares about. None of the horror characters.
I can't say the same. I had plenty of dreams about Freddy Krueger, and I had a dream about the Toxic Avenger.
Oh
and
my god!
It was a very short dream of like I would see like the back, I would see his back and the back of his head, and then he would just slowly turn his head like this and just look at me. And then I'd wake up. That was like a reoccurring dream, and I was just like, ah.
Well, he was an ugly looking son bitch. And who that whale? Thank you for joining us in the chat.
Yeah. And once again, we just want to say that the Halloween review, we are going to do that. We're bullshitting until Tyler joins us. He's got some personal stuff, and we'll just because we didn't want to start it without him. I don't like that would have been terrible if Joe and I talked for half hour. We already said a good chunk of stuff that we wanted to say, and then Tyler joins us, and it would just be like, well, let's. All right, Tyler. Yep. Well, we already said that too, and it just wouldn't have.
Well, we weren't originally, weren't even going to do the show, but Tyler said he'd still maybe like to just to get his mind off things. So that's why we said, okay, yeah, we could try to do it a little bit. So until then, we're just giving some kind of old Halloween, memories from movies to experiences to.
Yeah, we're just talking about whatever.
Hell, what now? Even about trick or treating, I'm gonna let you know something.
Oh man, I wanted to actually, maybe I can try to do this maybe later today. I wanted to go to my parents and go through the photo albums and pick out all the ones, like who I dressed up as every year. Because 1 year I went as Dick Tracy, 1 year I went as Egon from Ghostbusters, 1 year I went as Sting.
Oh yeah.
1 year I went as I always thought this was really cool. I went as a baseball player, but my dad fixed it where like the bat had gone through my head, and
that's cool.
Then like the baseball was just like stuck to my face.
You got pictures of that?
I want to say that we do, so I'll have to find it. Like, I mean, it's kind of like crude. It's just like the little fake blood here, and then like I'm wearing a hat, and the bat was just sort of like glued onto it. But I thought it looked pretty awesome.
That's cool. I wish I had photos of anything from when I was a kid, because I do remember off the bat. That was He-Man, Skeletor, or Hordak. Those were the only three Masters of the Universe or Princes of Power. Those were the only three characters from that, franchise that I was. Yeah. Beyond that, I remember being a Hulk, even though the Hulk scared the shit out of me. In fact, like I said, the Incredible Hulk, you'd think, okay, I'd be afraid of Jason and Michael Myers. But when I used to see Bruce Banner start transforming into Hulk, and I was just a kid back then, I used to hide behind the couch. It scared the hell out of me, and I remember pissing my pants one time because that's how. No kidding. That's how I was frightened to death. And my mom and dad, they keep telling me, well, I did. They said, Joe, that's the good guy. And I said, but he looks like a bad guy. They're like, no, that's a good guy. It's like I said, I had nightmares about him. And there was this one time.
Wait. Hang on, though. Like, your parents have already established, like, don't be afraid of this. Don't be afraid of this. Like, it's vague. But you're afraid of the Hulk. I've never been scared enough where I pissed myself.
I did. That is literally what happened. Not an expression. That happened because I was behind the couch, and when he started transforming, I just remember I'm shaking and I peed. That man frightened the hell out of me so much to where there was a time we went trick or treating. We went in this one neighborhood, and there's the crosswalk, and there was a man standing there, painted up like the Hulk, this big muscular guy. I'm screaming, I'm crying because my sisters was across the street, my brother did, and then my mom I'm the youngest, so she's always holding my hand. She's like, Joey, she said, we have to cross the street to go trick or treat. And I was like, but I was crying. I was like, it's the Hulk, but I'm screaming, it's the Hulk, and I'm crying. She was like, just run past him. And I said, no. She was like, give me your hand. She's like, he has candy. I said, I don't want it. And she's like, just run with me and hold your hand out. And I ran and held my hand out. The guy tried to give me candy, but I just kept going. I didn't get his candy, was gone. That scared the hell out of me because he looked like the real life Hulk.
Oh my God.
It's just bizarre. All these, but I'll tell you what though, I still like doing it. I'm doing it this year, and I don't care. I'll put on an outfit. I'm going to get free candy in this neighborhood.
Are you shitting me?
No, I'm not, and I will show you the.
Oh my God!
I'll show you my haul after I get back.
Joe, come on, man!
It's free. It's free. It's saving me some money. It's like shit. I could put on my goofy, and I do this kind of like a little hunch thing where if I'm wearing
it makes you look like you're younger. You're just shorter. Yeah. Oh my Joe! What the fuck, man?
But and I'm quick, and I usually get a pillowcase. But yeah, I do the hunch. I kind of run up real quick. Say,
oh my! I'm still.
I say trick or treat and thank you. And
no.
Usually the thing is some places don't give you candy unless you say it. So I use that little voice to sound younger, and then I get my candy. And I put another mask in my bag because if I go up to a house and they give those big candy bars, I'll switch off the mask, put on a different mask, and go up to that house again, maybe 5 minutes later to get a bigger candy bar.
Unbelievable.
Damn it, you heard it here, but I don't care. Shoot, that is free food.
You never stop to think, how tall are you, Joe?
Well, I'm not a giant, and I'm not super short, but punching, I could appear to be.
You don't even want anyone to know how tall you are.
Well, the thing is, there's actually some 6-foot some bitches that come around this neighborhood that are kids that are like 13 years, 14 years old, big suckers. They're still trick-or-treating.
Yeah, but you got to think, if you're using that voice and you're that tall, you don't think that raises any suspicion at all?
Well, I'm not one of those 6-foot bastards, so that's what's good. At least I'm not that gigantic tall, where they're going up and they could still say trick-or-treat. But, like I did, I'll do a trick-or-treat, and then I just run.
I can't. I can't wait. I can't wait to tell Tyler about this.
He's gonna be well. Of course, he's in. You know what his response would be?
Yeah, it's probably going to be kind of similar to mine. I'm like, Jesus, Joe.
Well, first it'll be Jesus Christ, but I think he actually would have said, "Well, of course you will, Joe, because anything to get free food, of course you're going to be out there begging. You're probably going to even take the candy from the kids that are walking by."
I honestly, I bet you do that too. Like it'll be like in Halloween. I just see some kid running up and just runs into you. And they look up at you, and you just snatch their candy from them, basically. God damn, Joe, trick or treating.
Well, you don't get many of those chances in your lifetime, so damn it, why not take advantage? You can do it, man. Put on an outfit. You go, Emily. Just have some damn fun. Go get some candy.
One thing, I'll be at work. The second thing is honestly around here, it's been a steady decline. I've noticed that kids don't really go trick or treating in the neighborhoods anymore. It's more about the trunk or treats and all the church functioning stuff, which is all well and fine. But
what's a trunk or treat? I never heard of that.
Well, it's basically a bunch of vehicles parked in the parking lot, and they all just go, and people are handing out candy there. Everyone's all together, and I'm like, that takes the fun out of it for me. Because when I was a kid, when I was a kid, the old neighborhood that I grew up in was sort of just that when you think of trick or treating, that was like the picture perfect place.
Yeah.
So many houses that were kind of close together, and then you'd have like the spooky house that no one wanted to go to. And
experience, that was part of the fun, is going up, getting freaked out, seeing those cool out. I mean, the things that were set up in front of the houses and the lights and people trying to scare. Now, did you guys do it 2 hours from 6 till 8, or how did you do it?
That kind of changed too, because when I was a kid, it was mostly it started when it got dark and then lasted till about 8 o'clock. So yeah, you're probably right. It's probably about, I would say,
It's
like, yeah, 6 to 8. But now, when kids do kind of go through the neighborhoods, because my parents still hand out candy where they are, and they honestly they don't get that many trick or treaters anymore. But it usually they get their first trick or treater. I'd say got about 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
then
that's
they're
weird.
done
No,
by,
yeah. Here it's specifically, it's always been 6 to 8, and I mean, you'd make use of those 2 hours as much as you can until a house would run out of candy, and then sometimes you might have been that house's last person, and they'd say nobody else will probably be around. Here you go, and they just give you the dump of all of it. That's what was great. But I was like, here you go. But yeah, it's 6 to 8. You'd make the most of every hour, and I remember I'd always go from the candy, getting all that, come home, and right in time to watch Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Got to sit down and watch that live. It was just perfect.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's one of those other just lost things now. I feel like parents don't want their kids to go out, and it makes sense because the world's a lot weirder now.
Well, as long as sometimes, like I said, the kids would do it by themselves. When they're of a little bit of an older age, but younger. Usually, the parents always there.
Yeah.
Like Delvis78, which thank you for joining us, Delvis, said that people don't trick or treat with their kids around where he's at anymore either. He said too many tweakers, and he said trunk or treats are kind of monitored by the cops. So okay, see, I didn't know what the hell a trunk.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. It's just like, I know churches. It's very popular with churches and everything. We actually also have a treat trail. I don't know if you got anything similar to that, where like businesses, they have it mapped out to where you can go walk like store to store, grocery stores, whatever, and they'll be handing out candy as well.
Kind of not like a treat trail, but I've had that where I've walked into, like a grocery store, like we have our Myers around here, and they'll have a specific day and time to where in Myers kids can come in the store with their outfits, and there's all these stations where they're passing out candy within there too. So that's, I guess, a safe way of doing it. But no, I mean, this, like the neighborhood I'm at now, they seem like everybody usually tries to show out and give out a lot of stuff, and there's usually a lot of lights on. The neighborhood I grew up in, that one kind of went to where there wasn't a lot of houses that lit up, and that happened quickly. So we had to go always in different neighborhoods. We just, because our neighborhood's like, God, you'd be lucky if there was like 3 houses within a whole block radius that had lights on. Almost nobody. And I always turn the light off here, like, when it's Halloween, I got to turn all the lights off because otherwise you have the kids ringing the door and knocking. It's like, you ain't getting their shit at my house.
Yeah, and then there's also just a lack of decorations as well. It just seemed when I was a kid, everyone decorated, everyone went trick or treating, everyone was handing out candy. Now it's desolate. And I'm just like, what happened? Because it's an awesome holiday, and it just seems like it's sort of been pushed aside now. Like I'm sure I can go into Walmart today and they're already like, well, yeah, here's a row of Halloween shit, but you see these Christmas trees right here? And I'm like, man, like, anyway, I did get a text from Tyler, and he says that he is close to ready, so we can go ahead and talk a couple more minutes, wrap this up, and then we'll get the other link set up. So all of you guys that are with us now, that link should still be available there, and I imagine when we hit live on that, it will probably notify you guys as well. But we hope that you all like make the change back over, and thanks you for that. I'm just like flubbing the fuck out of my words today. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us in this just little bullshit thing while we
and real quick, Tyler. Might as well say what a couple people said. What was that? Giannis said that's what he did when he was young. We knew who gave the most, but then
you gotta go to the rich people neighborhoods.
They
always got the better candy.
And that's what Who Dat Whale brought up. It's just what I said. He was like, man, I remember trick or treating with pillowcases and going out for hours and going to where the rich people live and getting full size candy bars. And that's what I was saying. Who Dat Whale, that's what I do. I mean, well, I'm going to do it this year too. I always take an extra mask and I put it in my bag. And if I go to that house and I get that big full size candy bar, I then switch out my mask, come back 5 minutes later, get another one. Man,
you are unbelievable. I still can't believe that. Like,
but you got to. And
Do you
Delva said,
though? Like, do you?
you have to, man. It's free food, and I'll show you my haul. Delva said before that, he said before we had our son, my wife and I would sit on the porch with a bucket of candy, shaking it to draw the kids over. And he said they all got huge handfuls of candy. Which, yeah, some places I remember they give you handfuls, some with just one little piece. And I always hated going to that place where they just give you like one little piece of gum, or the one that I hate the worst, that candy corn shit. I was like, oh God, who invented this pile
Hey,
of crap?
hey.
That's the worst candy in the
No,
world.
it's not.
Nobody.
Candy corn is not the worst. It is
Oh
not.
God.
I
It's
always thought the worst were what do they call them? It's like the Mary Jane. What is it that's wrapped in like the
Mary
orange and the
Jane's.
black? Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, they have there's those Mary Janes, bit of honeys, but no, that candy corn, it's like shit. Why don't you just give me a candle to chew on? Who fucking thought that was a
Well,
good idea?
I mean, did you ever get the one where like you would get pencils and rulers? Do you ever have any of those?
Oh, that or the occasional nickel and dimes. I was like, oh my God, I felt rich back then when I'd
Oh
get
my
some
god!
money. I was like,
Okay.
well, you get,
Free candy and money. Oh my god!
well, you got dimes, nickels, pennies. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a quarter when I would go back then, but you get those occasional ones. Then there was the people that gave you the popcorn ball that when you got home went in the trash because my parents, I always said, don't eat anything that somebody made. We weren't eating
Yeah,
that. We weren't eating, like
yeah,
apples, especially after that, seeing Halloween too, and the kid with the
yeah.
razor blade.
Right.
We were paranoid as hell, but yes, parents would always sit there and look at the candy, make sure it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And
Only wrapped candy. Only wrapped candy. Yeah,
yeah,
anything like that. Because there were a few. It's like, oh, well, here's homemade cookies, and I was like, well, I ain't eating that. I've always been picky about that anyway. Like when people other than my parents would cook or bake something, I would always be hesitant to eat it, even if I knew them, because I'm just like, I don't know.
and you get the occasional people that would give you some drinks. I mean, not alcoholic, but you would get like those fruit punch drinks. You'd get bags of Doritos and chips. So yeah, you'd make out with some cool stuff. And
Oh my god.
but I don't know if I got any pencils or erasers. I don't
No,
know.
yeah,
That must have been the
I'm
boring
trying
ass
to.
teacher.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it indeed was a teacher, but I don't think that it was. I think it was just one of those people. It's like, I want kids to have things to learn with. All
Oh,
right,
that's
where's
yeah.
the fucking candy?
Yeah, where's the candy? It's all I want. I remember a lot of it I didn't eat. I'd give some to my brothers and sisters. Always gave my mom, God rest her soul. I'd always give her Tootsie Rolls. She liked Tootsie Rolls, so I always have a big bunch of those and give my mom all the Tootsie Rolls. And I was mainly after the chocolate. When it was chocolate from Nestle, Nestle Crunch to Hershey bars, anything,
Yeah,
that was my main thing. But well, how about you wrap us up, and then we can get ready to go live here in just a bit when
yeah,
Tyler should be getting home in a minute. But it was fun hanging out with you guys for this quick little wrap session. But we'll be doing it just in a couple minutes, and
yeah,
just come join us
yeah.
again.
We'll be. I hope you guys are ready, but we do also want to stress that you guys that are in
Spoiler.
here now, yeah, and I'll stress it again when we start the episode. It will be very spoiler heavy. So if you have plans to watch Halloween, go do that first and then come check out our episode. Or you
Yeah,
can just be like Joe and just like plug your ears for a little bit, kind of peek in, stop listening, and then when we start ragging Joe about still trick or treating at his age, then you can pop back in.
there you go.
But yeah, thanks you guys for joining us. I'm gonna keep out the usual like subscribe. I will save that for the episode. But yeah, it was cool, and we will see you guys here in probably about 5-10 minutes or so.
See ya.